What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? It's your boy back with another one. People, in today's video, we want to talk about the effects of Black American culture and the positive or negative impacts it had on the South African society. Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we family, right? Holla. Phew, man. People, Black American culture, Black American society, Black American actions and activities, Black American music. Does it have a positive or negative impact on us as Black South Africans or colored South Africans, or let's just say people of color in South Africa, right? Because it's mainly the Black communities and the colored communities that emulate Black Americans, right? Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Now let's look at it from every possible angle, right? Musically, South Africa is heavily influenced by American music culture. Is that a good thing? Yes, it is. Because we can take American culture, blend it with South African culture, and come up with something unique. That's cool. Let's look at it from a social and economical standpoint. From an economical standpoint, business standpoint, Black Americans are really not that astute when it comes to business, right? Or if they are, it's not widely publicized. I mean, apart from Kanye West and Jay-Z that do these big business deals, you don't hear of the ordinary guy on the street, Black American, that's doing massive, like, I I don't even know if it's even possible to think of any Black American businessman without us thinking of a Jay-Z, like Kanye West, or a Dr. Dre, or a Spike Lee, Denzel. There has to be some sort of artist. I mean, I don't know of any Black American businessman, just like who's a non-celebrity, just like a straight up businessman, right? The first Black American businessman, at one point the richest Black American businessman that I ever heard of, was through Oprah Winfrey, right? And his name was Robert Smith. And he was like the richest Black American at the time. And I think at the time, he was the only non celebrity on the rich Black American list. The others had to be celebrities. So Robert Smith is like an anomaly almost. So we don't get to hear about great Black Americans who are doing big things in the ordinary world, right? Who are doing extraordinary things in the normal world, in the ordinary world, right? So this brings me to the pertinent question of American culture and whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, right? So as Black South Africans, we like to emulate Black Americans in almost everything they do, from the way they talk, the way they dress, the way they sing, the way they dance, the way they do their sports, whatever they like, we emulate, we create. If we don't have it, we'll somehow make a way to mimic whatever the Black Americans do. Are we losing ourselves? Maybe so. Is it a good thing? I don't know. So those are the positive things that we can get out of Black Americans, right? Looking at the celebrities coming from nothing, turning into something, then going into business and becoming multimillionaires and businesses, turning their passions into businesses, right? And that's a good thing. And that's what we really want as Black South Africans. It's inspiring, it's motivating, it's encouraging, and you know that it's possible too. If they can do it, so can I, so can we, so can South Africa, so can Africa, right? But then there's a disturbing side to Black America culture that South Africans seem to embrace wholeheartedly. Well, Black South Africans seem to embrace wholeheartedly. And that's the culture of destruction. And for me, I feel like it's 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 very sad that Black Americans are the most privileged Black people on the planet. Black Americans live the richest life that a Black person can experience from an economical standpoint, simply based on the fact that they live in the richest country possible and they have access to resources and finance that most other Blacks worldwide do not have access to. At some point, if I'm not mistaken, if research proves me right, Black Americans account for $2 trillion in the of the American economy. And by contrast, this is like I was shocked to hear figures being thrown around that Black Americans spend billions on Jordan, billions on hair care products, billions on foreign imported garments, like your Louis Vuittons, your Gucci, your Lacoste, your Versace's, you name it. That's insane. That that the mere fact that Black Americans are willing to splurge on such outlandish products that do not benefit the Black economy is mind-boggling. I mean, if the richest Blacks are not taking accountability for the creation of a Black economy, for the creation of a Black elite society. I mean, as we speak now, do you know that in Black America, there isn't a Black city, there isn't a rich Black neighborhood that's just solely meant for rich Black people? Like, there isn't such a neighborhood. It doesn't exist. And yet, somehow, the Jewish people have a neighborhood. It's rich. The Muslim people have a neighborhood. It's rich. White people have always had rich neighborhoods. But surprisingly, Black people don't have that in America. And yet they are a 2 trillion economy. Now, let's go back to the destruction story. Black Americans have a history of destroying infrastructure when they got on these riots and protests. And it's disturbing because in the process of this, well, in the in the midst of their anger, some businesses or most businesses that get targeted are not even part of the problem that is causing the anger amongst Black Americans. Do you know how disturbing it is to be a Black business owner and watching your struggling business go up in flames? All because the community was angry at some law, some injustice, or some whatever. It had nothing to do with your Black engineering business, your black panel beating shop, your black art studio, your black designer shop, your black recording studio. But that had to go up in flames because we were angry. So we're just going to destroy everything in our wake. In our wake. So the destruction, and I feel like the Americans at this point in time can afford to destroy their infrastructure because they have a government that spends trillions on rebuilding stuff, on wars. So they have the monies to replace whatever the black Americans destroy. And that's why the Americans go on the rampage. And that's why black Americans can go and destroy because they know the government is going to rebuild the stuff again because there's endless amounts of cash to do that, right? When it comes to South Africa, do we have do we really have the economic muscle to do this now? Is that something that we really want to emulate? Is it a good thing for us now to be destroying stuff just because we see the way the Americans do it? I mean, at what point do we now learn that our country is now officially broke as we speak? So the culture of destruction can no longer continue because at some point the government is not going to be able to build those malls, those clinics, the road infrastructure, the my city bus stops. It's just not going to happen. So, is emulating Black American culture a really good thing if we are going to emulate in the destruction of infrastructure that we are going to need tomorrow? I don't know. I really don't know. Next, we look at the positives of emulating Black American culture, which I think we already outlined, right? But yeah, holla. People, Black American culture has had a positive knock-on effect in Africa. It's evident in the music, it's evident in the lifestyle, it's evident in the language, it's evident in the dress style, the dress codes. It's evident in almost every sphere of Black or colored lives. And that's a fact. You cannot deny that, right? Black Americans have also had a great part to play in exposing the bad deeds that South Africa's experienced. And they lived through that as well by acknowledging Nelson Mandela and all the struggle heroes. And they've even taken liberty to even learn Zulu, learn the history of Africa, particularly Shaka Zulu. So those are the positives that we can take, an intercultural exchange between the two nations. And I think that's a blessing and I think that's a really good thing. But black to black business and exchange of ideas and that is still yet to be realized. I know there's efforts and there's things in the pipeline where black Americans are looking to come to the continent and invest in consortiums and invest like as groups and that, but that is still yet to become a big solid thing. But up until then, that front has been very minimalistic and not, and it's almost like an untapped sector of the economy which needs to be nurtured. Actually, that's what I believe. So yeah, there's not that much physical interactions between Black Africans and Black Americans, but in this context, I'm actually talking about Black South Africans. So that is another thing that needs to be discussed as well. So we need to encourage physical interactions between Black Americans, Black American businesses with Black South African businesses. And I think that would be a great way and a great stepping stone to something even bigger or greater within the Black diaspora. Next, we get into the cons of emulating Black American culture. Holla. People, the cons of emulating Black American culture, especially the destructive nature of Black American people. Number one, American people promote this culture of drunken behavior and promiscuity and just overall destruction of property, this gang culture. And these are destructive influences on our youth in South Africa. Now we emulate Black Americans because they glamorize these things and it's promoted on Black television stations, it's promoted in black media, and it's promoted even by the black independent record labels, and even by some of the major labels as well, because they say gangster music sells, this sells, sex sells. So the black people are almost seen as media fodder for this type of thing because they're saying it sells, right? And you'll see that black women are portrayed almost like in a prostitute way, almost like in a way that they are hungry for sex, and they just so it's a bad look for black Americans, but it's promoted, and people. I mean, if you don't believe me, look at any black reality TV shows. It's almost guaranteed that violence must be the order of the day. Bad language must be the order of the day. No matter how elegant the show presents itself in high end, this high end that, black people must always be seen as a destructive force or a destructive people. You cannot take them anywhere because they'll just cause mayhem and chaos. And it doesn't matter whether it's in a high tea or a luncheon at Buckingham Palace. Black people will always seem to be deemed as a destructive people. And true to form, somewhere, somehow, black people seem to fight, scream, and shout and hurl abuse in the middle of an elegant high tea or in a high end store or some big international fashion event. So, if black Americans are allowing themselves to promote these type of destructive cultures, is it a good thing? Destroying infrastructure, is that a good thing? So I'm just talking about destruction of everything as a whole, just not infrastructure, but just destructive societal behaviors as well. I mean, drinking, underage drinking, teenage pregnancies, all these things that they just glorify in the ghettos. And then somehow the suburbs are like an extension of the ghettos. It's just that the areas are more leafier and greener, but the mentality and it remains the same. So is this a good thing or a bad thing? Because now South Africans have almost fully, totally embraced that culture. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Was I on the money or did I totally miss it with this one? Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we're family, right? Holla.